2023, August 16th, Fair Commission meeting. Okay, we'll go with Rosemary Bosch here. Kenneth Sweeney.
Here.
John Trudeau.
Here.
Dave Littner.
Here.
Wayne Husted. I don't know if he has an excuse or no. Okay. Dharma is excused. Alderman Jason Craig.
He just messaged me that he's unable to make it due to work conflict.
Okay. Alderman Michelle Aikman.
Present.
City Clerk Karen.
Here.
Deputy Clerk Shirley.
Here.
Secretary Nicole is excused. Angela is
Here.
here. We're missing a few on, no, we're missing on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Lori's not on there.
Lori's not on the list,
I'm here.
but Lori,
sorry.
Lori is here, and this list is wrong because it has John Nelson as alderman also on it. All right, so on to the next order of business, the citizens comment period. Anybody have any comments?
Not a citizen. It's not.
I guess not. On to the next operation of the 2023 St. Martin's Labor Day Fair. Do we have anything that you guys have?
We have a list of licenses currently for this year. We have 13 food licenses. Last year at the start of the fair, we had 22, so we're a little over halfway. Homegrown licenses, we have 6, and last year we had 16, so we're a little under half there. And merchandise, we have 50, and last year we had 110, so we're a little short, but what I'm being told by staff is that in the next few weeks we will catch up, so they're not concerned that we're short.
Has anybody called and complained about the new having to be in by Thursday before or anything on that?
I've not heard any issues regarding that at all.
I've had a couple people comment or say something to me about they noticed it and they were very happy about it being in bold and so that they're aware of it.
Okay, I'm glad that they
So
know.
on that.
I do have some other concerns going forward, and this is just from new eyes on the committee and not doing this before. The collection of cash during the fair, I have some issues with that because there's no safe place to hold the cash, and I don't feel like the staff should be walking around with the cash. We did last year have an issue with an angry vendor, and I also don't want to have issues with people noticing that we're collecting cash and then knocking somebody over the head and taking it. And
Are you aware that we're walking around with a police officer
I am
and that
aware.
it is turned into the police officers after we collect it?
I am aware of that.
Okay.
The incident that I am talking about was videotaped, and during that incident, the police officers were standing in the streets watching the incident. The angry vendor that was being removed from the fair because they didn't have a license was on one side, the police were on the other, and the staff were in the middle. Again, I don't feel that's a safe way of handling things. I also don't believe that city staff, other than maybe the police, are equipped to handle that kind of situation. So I think going forward, I will make a meeting to speak with the chief, but I believe that anybody that needs to be removed from the fair for not having a license should be done by the police and not by 55-year-old city staff that have no training in dealing with that. So, and that's the other issue with the cash too. I mean, if you want to take it, that's fine, but I don't feel like the staff should be taking it. I think it's an insurance issue, city insurance issue, and I think it's a safety concern on my part with the staff.
Can I add to that if you don't mind? Did you see that on the video?
I did.
Okay, because I was there, I was present, and I felt very safe and secure. The officers and anybody else that was there could correct me if I'm wrong, we're kind of like right behind us, but you're
I agree.
right in that we were
Right in-
handling it, but.
And you were right in the line of fire. If anything occurred,
Yeah.
you were right in between the police and the angry vendor that was
Yeah,
being.
I guess I was, but I felt safe and secure, and then knowing Nicole's, background and so forth.
I
too.
understand that.
But I respect what you're saying.
Yeah,
and
in
then-
this day and age, it's not getting any better.
No,
and,
exactly.
And I.
Well, the couple times I did it too, you set the envelope down to do whatever. And
Yeah.
I want it attached to my chain.
Right. I
you
mean,
know,
I
that's.
I just don't think it's a
There's a lot of money in there.
Yeah, I just don't think it's a safe thing to be doing is carrying around cash. I mean, venues.
How can we do it? What else can we do?
I
Not allowed,
I suggested handing out a letter this year stating, we'll take it this year, but we're putting you on notice that this is the last year we'll be doing it. If you don't pay in advance, then you won't have a license and you'll be asked to be
Yeah, because
removed
they
from
can
the
pay for
fair.
the extra footage at City Hall, right? If
They
they're gonna have
can,
kids.
yes,
Okay, so
yep.
that helps a lot.
Yeah,
too.
so they shouldn't be paying you out for that either
Yeah.
at fair.
90% of the vendors have the extra footage already put on there, and you're only paying for an extra, like they didn't know that the vendor next to them wasn't going to be there, so they're moving it over, and it's only a couple extra feet or anything on that. Most of the money that was collected, and correct me if I'm wrong, was on the far end going from town going up towards the hardware store. I know because Dave and I collected it.
Yeah.
on that end, and it's exactly the same people year after
Yeah.
year after
Yes,
year.
and-
I don't know if they wait
So-
for the weather to see what the
I'm
weather's
sure
gonna
they
be
do.
like.
Correct.
Because
And-
some of them, you come up to them.
And they already have the money with
Yeah,
them.
and they have it already clipped to their tent.
Correct.
It's right up there. I mean, that's happened several times.
Correct. So, I mean, those are the ones that I guess I would shoot a note to, first of all, because they all get the registration letters, and some of them already have the letters already put out and know exactly what to put on it and everything on that.
Yes.
But majority of the money collected is not a lot of new money. It's only footage here, there, and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I've collected for the last umpteen years, and I've never not felt safe with the officers around or even walking the fair. And the video itself, I'm the one that brought it to Sandy's attention that it was out there because I had some clients of mine that actually showed it to me. So, and the spot was actually on my property, and he did have a license. So it wasn't collecting the license, it was evicting him for whichever, and I do agree that that should be something that the officers should do on that.
Right. And without having a license too, I really don't think that you should be collecting money at the fair. I think if they want to sell at the fair, they should have the license ahead of time. They shouldn't be
Mhm.
bringing the money to the fair on the day of. It's just not a safe practice.
We require everyone to pay. The health department requires
Mhm.
everyone to pay ahead of time. You don't show up that day and get a
But
license.
you've also closed people down during the fair.
They've already
in
paid
years
for
past.
their license.
Correct.
Yeah, and we would call the police when we're going to close them down and ask them to just be present. But you're right. It does not feel safe when we've done it in the past. Even just some of our interactions are a little bit.
How much money are we collecting?
Yeah, that's my other question. How much
Yeah.
money is?
Last year, I think I wasn't there last year, but it varies from year to year. I'd say maybe between maybe 1,000, 1,500.
And that's usually what we collect is a little over $1,000 on that end.
Yeah, and we usually, like, I wasn't there last year, but the year before that, I think we had a couple of people that had to pay extra footage, and then the one guy who paid the extra $100, so that was $400 and some dollars, because he had.
I guess my thoughts are on that. It's not worth losing somebody's life over $1,000 that you're
Correct.
collecting that day.
Correct.
What is the reason they can't pay ahead of time?
They just don't
Uh,
come here.
A lot of them some of them won't pay because they're out of town and they have to have cash or a check prior to.
Well, they can do a cashier's check.
Cashier's check or
Yeah.
something. So.
So
that's
they
just-
could mail it in.
Wait till for the weather.
to see
Yeah.
if it's
A lot of
gonna
them
rain.
wait for the
A lot
weather.
of them
That's the
wait.
biggest thing.
You know, they're not gonna set up in the rain, so they're not
Right.
gonna spend the money.
Right.
You know, it's a,
That's
most
happens
of them
a lot.
run on
I-
a shoestring anyway, so they're coming in and gonna pay and then hope it's a good day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel that's the exception to the rule. All of the other, like
Yeah.
farmers markets
Correct.
and even say like some of the other events in Franklin, like a Recraft and Relic or the winter market, that you have to commit ahead of time.
Mhm.
You
You do.
can't.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
Right.
And you pay ahead of time.
and you pay ahead of time.
Right, and then on the same token is you are under the thing about it's each property owner. So I know for a fact for my stuff, if they don't have a license, they don't sell. I have little cards made up, they don't get parking things, they get absolutely nothing. They have this little thing and it says what time they have to be there, no parking, no selling, no nothing unless they're paid for their spot and paid for their license. But I can't, it's hard to say for other property owners that are up and down the street that they decide, oh, well, today I think somebody knocks on my door, they're gonna give me $500 to go into my front yard and sell. Well, I don't care if they have a license or not. We have heard time and time again, well, the landlord or the person that we rented from did not tell us that we needed a license. I've known most of the people up and down the street for my entire life. They all know that they have a license. When I talk to them, no, they told us they already had a license before we gave them the spot. So who do you take
Right.
from that?
Right.
And then in that situation, are we supposed to not accept payment from them and tell them to leave?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's almost.
But how do you get them
So,
to
more
go, I
hassle.
mean, if they're already, we don't start collecting and start checking until 10 o'clock, the fair's already going, they've already made,
Yeah, and you can't get vehicles in
That's
there.
gonna be worse.
We asked a person to leave last year.
Yeah.
That was rightfully so, though, with that
That
with
was
the
This,
situation.
this is
But
rightfully so.
that situation where that gentleman left was at the end of Forest Home Avenue, which was very easy for him to leave. I'm talking about somebody that is in the dead center, how are you gonna get them out?
Yeah.
And maybe this year, I'm not disagreeing with you, but if I'm correct, the issue with that last year was that they had applied for their license very last minute.
Mm-hmm.
So the police warrant or the felony check didn't go through, or wasn't there a
They
concern
didn't answer
because
the
they
phone is the problem. They
Yeah.
knew that they weren't gonna pass the felony
We
check.
we tried to call them
But-
several times and they never called us back. I think they even tried to email the person, never got back to us. And so that's what happened.
Yeah, but maybe with
I
this
mean, we
year,
tried to take care of it before the fair.
right?
But this guy just never called us back.
Right.
And then he was saying, well, I didn't fill it out, my girlfriend filled it out. Well,
And it wasn't the right. It was a different person or something.
yeah,
Anyway,
And technically, she's the one that rented the spot from me.
Mhm.
yeah, where he's, his name, she put his name on the application, so when we ran the background check, stuff came up on him. And the chief said that he could not, so.
was that a rare occurrence?
Yeah, that's the first one that's by me.
We have had it before where,
The guy was selling the bootleg T-shirts or the purses, that
yeah,
sort of stuff.
and that they had to shut down. But we have had before where we have like someone that came up on a background check and the police officer, Sandy would notify the chief, and then when we met at 10 o'clock, she would usually tell the officers, okay, this is the person, this is the name, the person is around this area, and then they would go
Mhm.
try to find the person. I mean, one time the guy had a thing from the governor, that exposed his record, but the other one they did finally find, and I think they got him to leave, so.
And again, we're not doing this year. I mean,
Mhm.
because we can't just start because it's been going on for so long. So that was why I proposed a letter. So anybody that's giving, and it's the same people every year.
Well, it is, because
basically.
we tell I can show you, we can go right to the spot and say, hey, we know that these people don't have.
Yeah.
And they just do not, so,
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe with their letter that says if you do not comply before the fair, you do not come back.
Right, you'll be asked to leave
Mhm.
that day
Yeah. Or
instead
maybe
of payment.
We have those letters typed up and ready, and we get them all in our packets.
Yeah,
Because we
that's-
have a packet.
yeah, that's fine.
Then you can hand it out to that person and
Mhm.
say, just so you know, next year, you're gonna have to leave, if you don't pay ahead of time.
Right,
But then we still have to have people go around to check.
you still, yes, you're
Well,
still gonna have
you
somebody
s-
come around and check.
Right, but
With-
you'll have the license, they're supposed to display their
Right,
license.
correct.
So if it's not displayed,
But
you'll know.
it's the same thing as if it's a foot or 2 or 3 or 4 feet. I mean, you're not gonna, if somebody doesn't know that they're gonna get an extra couple of feet, you can't not say you're not gonna collect that extra 20-some bucks,
Right.
$30-some dollars.
And I guess my point on that would be, for the extra $30, I don't know if it's worth a confrontation for a couple
But they have
extra
no
feet.
problem usually giving it to you.
Yeah.
So there's really no
Usually. But I've also been
confrontation.
told that people will suck it in so they don't have to pay that, and then you walk by, and 10 minutes later, they've sucked back out.
That's why we randomly go back and forth every once in a while and check on things.
Yeah, well, I guess that's up to you, but I'm suggesting that my staff does not collect any money because I don't feel it's safe for them. So if the Fair Commission wants to collect the money, I think that's fine, but I don't want to put my staff in that situation.
Okay. So for checking for permits, we're going to be checking them all on our own this year?
I guess I don't know what that means.
No,
There's
I
always been a
think
staff, no, that's what she just said, that she's not gonna be, none of her staff is going to be having the money.
Starting next year.
Starting next year.
Yeah.
But that's what would be, if you've always gone, and I know you haven't been, is go, one of the fair commissioners and a city staff member would go and check the permits with a police officer.
Yeah,
And in the past, Sandy has had it where some of you have been 2 or 3 and Dave and I have been on one end. And I don't think that that's fair either. I think it should be a fair commissioner and a city staffer going together.
Right.
And I don't feel that way. So I feel that this is a fair commission thing. I think the city staff is doing this on their own time. So I don't think this is something, I think should be handled by the Fair Commission, much to the same respect as the 4th of July
Correct.
is handled by the commission of that also. So I think it evolved into that over the year. I'm not Sandy. I'm
No, I
looking at it
understand
from a
that.
different viewpoint. I'm looking at it from the safety of my aging staff, and I don't think that's something that somebody that's being paid $20 an hour should be doing, is going out there and risking anything for $5 for a foot. So
Okay.
With that situation last year, I mean, I guess how we could have handled it, again, I felt, the video is unique, but I felt incredibly, without a doubt, I felt incredibly safe.
I
But I guess
hear you.
maybe how we could have handled it and would even think about it, because maybe I don't want to speak on behalf of the others, but we could have, I guess, just asked one of the officers that were right by us, to take care of that. We didn't because we felt, I don't want to speak on Sandy's behalf because she's not here.
I completely understand, but I do not think the way the world is going this day that you're going to feel completely safe going forward with people like that. And my staff is not trained in handling those situations.
Can I ask Karen, in all fairness, because this is new to you, have you been to the fair in the
I have.
past? Okay.
Mhm.
So you're familiar with it as
Yeah.
visiting? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep.
Anything else for operations for the fair?
I do have one other thing, I'm sorry.
Okay.
This one's not bad. So, we were talking about, Nicole and I were talking about labeling each location as
Mhm.
well.
She brought that up to me.
And I think that's a good idea, not only for situations that arise where there's a confrontation, but health situations, if somebody has a heart attack, so they can call in a rescue squad and say, we are in green section 23, and they can head directly there. The police can head there, or the rescue personnel can head there. So I think that's something, I don't really think you guys would disagree on that. I mean, if you don't mind us going forward
I
with.
have a wondering of how that is going to be implemented throughout the entire street when you have 55 different homes, and how are you going to make the landlords or anything, or landowners say, okay, well, I'm in section B,
Oh,
whatever
We
on
never
that.
had a problem with that in the
It's,
past either. you
it's
know, they
not
got
going to be the
address
landlord
off the house.
that has to say that. It
Well, that's
would
what
be.
that's how she was explaining it to me. She said every person that is renting, it will be listed, and then when they rent off the spot, they're gonna have to tell the person that they're renting it to, when they come in for their permits, that they're gonna have to list what place that they're in.
I think that's something that should be done in the office. I think we should have a map drawn up.
Do you guys have the address on the permit? Where, 'cause I think you asked for that.
This year, we did ask for the address of where they're selling
Yeah.
or who they're selling from.
Every year we've had it on there. And in the Lions Club, when we put our tent up, we can
Yeah.
use it. House number. We've done that every year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in the club 40, gonna be 50 years with the Lions, and I take care of the permits, and City Hall knows that. I get all the permits, and there was always an address on there. Couldn't you break it down in grids more instead of each house?
That's what we were trying to do, like different color grids and
mean, that's
different
the way we
locations.
have to do it on the
If
fire
there's a
department.
medical emergency, you wanna have the address though, too.
Yeah,
That
but
would
if you
be
put
in a
every
block.
10 houses or something, at least say
Yeah,
it's grid 25 or something.
but the guys with the
And
phones,
then,
they can.
and then you should have that map or something, and, I mean, most of them know like where an alliance tent is, and,
Yeah.
I think it would also help with issues like if we have a vendor that we did do a late background check on and they aren't supposed to be there, we know where they're located then, and we can send
Yeah.
the police officers to that location. So, I mean, it's just something that we thought would make it easier to find houses or
it is,
locations.
yeah. I mean, last year, for some reason, we had 4 calls in front of the alliance tents.
Okay.
One guy had a major heart attack, and that's when I couldn't get through, believe it or not. I called,
Whatever happened with
2 of
the
us
phone?
died 911, and we couldn't get through. I used my cell phone, and then there was another guy in the tent, and they said they couldn't put our call through.
That was something we talked about the end of
Yeah,
last year.
and then I got the command post number, the direct line, and I put it in our tent with big letters and everything. Then they called the command post in the next one, and I had people right away, but for some reason, they kicked 2 of us out the 911 system, down at the Lions tent. I mean, we tried it outside the Lions tent, we were in the Lions tent, and they just kicked us out from down there. I don't know what was going on.
You just gotta call after the fair closes.
Yeah.
But it,
Yeah,
that's
it's too late.
concerning.
Yeah.
if you
No.
can't get through, if there's spots where you can't get through.
Yeah, I mean, down there, I thought maybe it was my cell phone. I mean, I thought I was doing something wrong, but there's another guy that tried the same thing and got kicked off. So they
Would
couldn't-
that affect, would it be affected by the volume of use on, if everyone's on their phone in that area? I don't know. But you should still be able to get.
You should be able to.
They should have, but we
I think
couldn't.
that was just a fluke, kind of.
Yeah, because Jeff tried it, and I tried it
Yeah.
first, and then Jeff tried it on his, and another guy tried it, and none of us could get through.
Because not everyone's gonna have the command post number in their,
No,
that's
Yeah.
a,
but maybe that'd be a good idea to put on a permit or something, or.
everybody, they don't want everyone calling the command post.
Maybe, just like you, or because you've got a big tent, or like Swiss Street has a big tent, maybe those people should maybe have that direct line. But places where the people are really congregating, I mean, in that situation, we had a situation maybe 4 years ago where a lady had really bad heat stroke. It was 95 degrees out, and she's standing in the sun, drinking beer all day.
Yeah, but if you call I called the non-emergency for the
Yeah, I
kid
mean-
that was wandering around my field, and I had a police officer there within
Agreed.
3 minutes, so.
Yeah, they're walking around.
They send them right
When the guy
over,
had the heart
so.
attack, there was no police around, because it's the first thing I went for was a police officer. by
Well, they're
there
all
was
in
nobody
Sue's house
around.
there.
And he did have a major heart attack. I mean, he lived and everything, but and it just happened, there was nobody around, so that's why we called 911 right away, so.
We got off topic, sorry.
No,
No, that's fine.
it was a good discussion.
But I would say a grid or something. I mean, you're not gonna put every house number down or every.
No, and I think location, but I think within different sections, different colors, so it, I mean,
Well,
we
that
can
way,
at least,
Because before we had GPS and everything, I was in the fire department for 40 years, and we used the grid system, and that worked real good
Yeah.
in different
Yeah, they
subdivisions.
have stuff on the poles yet. You have little triangles with colors on them. There's
We
little
didn't-
triangles or something like on the telephone poles.
Oh, that way, yeah.
Yeah,
Could
that
do
they
that.
knew where things were
okay.
by the
Yeah.
numbers on the telephone
I mean, it's
poles
a good idea. I think,
on that.
That's all I have. Promise.
I just have one question. We were still doing background checks? Did we?
We're still doing background checks. We spoke to the chief on that, and he thought that would be a good practice to
Okay.
continue.
I just didn't know where that stood after the last meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, then, for the operations left on the fair, we still need to figure out who's going to be checking for permits. And then if we do it at 10 o'clock at the,
O'clock at the,
10 o'clock at the
police
police
trailer.
station, okay. And then you got, John said yes,
Yep.
I will,
This
Dave?
one? This one?
I see that Dharma said she will.
No, that's just, that's the closing.
No, if you need me, I can
That's
do it.
still the closing time.
Because they were pumping.
If we do,
I'm more than happy to. I can't speak on behalf of Alderman Craig, but I believe at the last meeting he said he would.
he said he would possibly.
So,
I find it fun.
And
you
if we
want
do,
a
if we,
city
Come with me
person
to
to
go
go though. I think Sandy sent you two down that way.
right, but if we stop things up, because I know Dave knows his way around on that end, and he could have somebody else with him that just knows how to check and, you know, write numbers down. He's really good at figuring out how many foot it is, but I used to do all the writing on that end, and we split up a little bit better and do 2 down one way, 2 down the other,
Okay.
and then cover the center, so we would do 4 around instead of 3.
Yeah.
Or do you think it would be safer to have a bigger group? Like last year it was me, me, Sandy, Nicole, and Katie.
Well, that's
Two
because you guys
officers.
met up.
But you don't need
The
to
two
have.
went down one side and then two went down the
Yeah,
other side and then
we
they met up.
yeah.
Right, but you don't need to have as many, you should have more of the Fair Commission members out there
Mhm.
collecting and checking for permits
Right. Yeah.
on that. I mean, we need Lori, we can always take her on that day.
Yeah, so you
On
need
that.
4 sets.
So 4 sets of stuff, and if you could, what was the problem with last year with, it was done, we couldn't find everybody? It wasn't alphabet?
Yeah, it wasn't alphabetized.
It wasn't alphabetized.
Well, there is a list and they're alphabetized, and then there is a list in there.
We didn't have an
We didn't have that.
alphabetized
Oh,
list.
okay.
We didn't have that one.
No.
We did not have an
You had to
alphabetized
go
list. We were going
up and down and
down.
trying to find these people.
Yes,
So
Okay, I'll check what okay.
yeah, we had 3 different lists and none of them were alphabetized, so we ended up going by the numbers on the permit. That's how we ended up finding everybody.
Mhm.
is it better than you think, Karen? I promise.
We'll see after I'm done.
Okay. Well,
Okay, anything else for operations?
Yeah. How often do the porta pots get pumped out?
They get pumped out,
Once, right?
Once during the
The
middle of the day
once.
too, or?
yeah, I think it's early Monday morning. I think they're there like around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, they're there.
Okay, because Romy's, they were overflowing last year.
Yeah,
Which
Okay.
both these.
we talked
So, yeah, I could either take
Well,
more porta
last year.
potties or.
our last meeting about taking a couple went from mine, because I've got 10 on each side of the street, taking 1 or 2 from there and moving it over to Romy's.
Okay, I'll talk to Kevin about that. I'll take care
Yeah,
of
because
that.
I do it in a horseshoe, so it won't matter
Yeah.
on
How
that
were yours,
end.
Dave, by the Lions Club?
They were good, they were pumped out Monday morning. We
Okay.
got there at 7 o'clock and they were gone.
Because I think he only has 2
Pumped out Monday morning.
and a
They
handicap.
didn't have to-
I'm not
they didn't-
sure, I would have to.
I don't
Yeah,
have
they
the
were
map
good,
with
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Good too.
Okay, we just-
Kevin takes care of that.
Give
Right.
us some more
So-
Romies then.
So
Yeah,
4 or
there's a
5
whole bunch
to
down by
go
the-
I was
down
on
to
the phone with
Romies.
those people for hours.
Yeah. And
You know, there's a
Is
whole
there
bunch.
room there for them?
Yeah, I'll make them.
Yeah, somebody's got a map, or the city does, or where.
Yeah, I have a map that they give them and they use that each
There's
year.
a lot down by the old hardware store too that could probably get moved up to Romey's too. I don't think those get nearly, there's a pile of them down there, and I don't think we need that many.
Okay.
So we could divert some of them up there too.
Right, because we doubled up the toilets because they weren't
'Cause
emptying
they
out as
didn't-
much.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, well, this is the only company I can
Correct.
find that
Right,
even
no,
does it
no, I'm
anymore.
just saying they doubled them
Yeah.
up, so.
Is this still the same company?
Yeah, it's the same company.
We just
Kevin
didn't,
said they were phenomenal.
we just didn't
Yeah.
put them in the right, it's just
Yeah,
trying to
they
figure
didn't
out where
have
they all
the
need to
right
go.
spots.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting that
Yeah.
map too, because they
Huh?
show up and then they don't know where to put them. You know, if I'm out there, I'll, let them know.
Usually they call Kevin and Kevin meets them out there or someone from Kevin's thing.
Not
meets them out
last,
there.
not last year, they were out and there was nobody around and they were putting them in the middle of the fields and I had to have them move them,
Oh, I can call her.
so.
But I just called her probably about a month or so ago and she asked about.
I know where they go in my
The
area, so.
schedule.
You give them my number for the east end of the fair too.
They only want one contact person.
Okay.
So, and it's during the day. I think they delivered them Friday, I want to say.
Fridays, yeah.
Yeah.
they deliver.
Well, Kevin's in charge of it.
Yeah, Kevin meets them out
Kevin
there.
could give him my number then if he
They
gets to
were-
the gym and it's on
Okay.
the east end too.
They were out there, I think it was like 7:30 on Friday morning with the first load.
Yeah,
of
they
toilets.
come up from Illinois. That's where they're from.
Right.
Okay. Okay, I'll call her again and then I'll talk to Kevin.
Operations, another thing we should think about, some signage on Forest Home.
I got signs made. They're being put together tomorrow and will be up either tomorrow late or the day after.
I think that's-
Okay, but now I heard today, the sergeant was telling Sue that the Forest Home is for sure gonna be barricaded off.
That's coming up on,
Right, I didn't know where to put that because I talked to the gentleman too today.
yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah,
got
right,
a little
sorry,
thing.
Sorry.
That's
I
okay.
jumped ahead, I'm sorry.
No, because that kind of falls into the thing of, I didn't know, and with the donations too, of if we could take any of the donations and get some fast signs or something printed that says road will be open to the fair.
Yeah, I would,
Yeah,
that was part of the donation right there.
but now, question Karen, he said that the road will be open,
And I asked her,
But
I
it
gave her
won't
a
be
check for
open.
Yeah,
$250.
So,
Not
can't
to
drive
drive
on
on
it, not to drive on it.
not necessarily. I talked to the guy that was paving it. He said that they're putting down the first base
Right.
today. And he said you'll be able to drive through it. You're gonna have the one part done over by North Cape for the school because they had to have that intersection open for the school that already started and they're behind on that. But he said that they will have everything with, not towards 36, or not towards Speedway, but from Muskego coming towards St. Martin's Road, we'll have the one thing of bonded and they'll be able to drive through that. And they're hoping to get it done through Sunnybrook, that side road there,
Okay,
is what he had said. He said you'll be able to drive through it. He also said that they are going to try to not have the bump. He said there's a 2-inch between the road and where this one is. They're gonna see if they're gonna make sure that they can have St. Martin's Road completely done so that nobody will fall when walking from Romy's across, is what he had said.
Well,
And he is
Karen
the
had-
manager, he said he's the guy, and the lady that was there from the county was also there.
yeah, well, Karen had talked with Glenn, and Glenn put an email in here from August 7th about the road closure that he met, when he met with the DOT. So it's in your packet, that, and it sounds like he's saying the road won't be open, right?
He's saying it won't be open, it'll still be closed. There's no final lift layer of asphalt or centerline stripping on there. So encourage people to drive through should not be done.
Yeah, I heard it was gonna be barricaded off.
Yes,
today.
that's what I'm hearing too.
Yeah,
And that's not what he had said.
Yeah, this
Forest
is.
Home on St. Martin's from North Cape will be fully accessible to fairgoers. But be aware that there are restrictions on North Cape, so large and heavy vehicles must enter and exit the fair from the southeast. The far southern access to the Jefferson Terrace will be drivable and more accessible.
Where's Jefferson Terrace?
I don't know.
That's,
Said subdivision back there.
Oh,
yeah,
Pacific.
is it that condos?
Pacific?
No, the little subdivision, the
Behind-
residential subdivision that
Or right on Forest
runs,
Home.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Behind my office.
Private
Oh,
pump.
where they come up.
and
Yeah.
between Ross
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
So
And
will
this is when we
Sunnybrook
met
be
with the
open?
DOT, so.
Does that,
Huh?
I didn't hear
will,
that.
will it be open to Sunnybrook? That's like 2 blocks down, 2 city blocks.
This is what he got when he met with the DOT.
You should have it in your packets.
Yeah, it's in your packet there. Not the first email, the second. That's the first one, the second one is more fun.
We gotta find out so we got the proper signage.
Yeah. Who did you talk to from the county? Patty? Logston?
I don't remember what her name was, but it's the guys that were out doing the road. He was the clipboard. He said he was the site manager out there
Oh, that's
Yeah,
it.
I don't know who
in the black truck.
he met with.
Lauren, I don't know who Lauren is.
Yeah, I don't know who Lauren is either. Lauren
I
and
think that's
DOT,
Mess there.
It doesn't say, but I would assume so.
yeah.
Porta pots, I just need more if they don't pump.
Because
them out
when
there.
he had originally had talked, he had said that they were told in the beginning that they just had to have St. Martin's Road accessible, that they didn't have to worry about anything with Forest Home, and now that he's finding out that, he says he's never been here for a fair or anything, that he's saying that he's finding out that there's a lot more here, so they're trying to get as much done up at least to St. Martin's Road as they possibly can.
Yeah. So
I
I
heard
don't
there's
know.
no sheriff's department this year.
Have them talk to Glenn?
Say that again?
There's no sheriff's department this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's
They'll be us
saying
right
not
here.
that they shouldn't drive on
Air
it, so.
Force Home.
Well, they're
I
right
would
on St.
talk to
Martin's,
Glenn,
right at Forest Home.
Yeah.
because this is the direction he's getting from the DOT.
There should be a lot less traffic.
Yeah, they were out there too today, I saw them.
I mean,
Yeah.
Because he said the stop and go lights aren't gonna be up, none of that stuff is gonna be working or
From my
anything until
understanding,
probably
accessible
mid-November.
to the public. Only people that are living
Yeah,
back.
so I would,
off
about
of,
your signage,
Off of
Jefferson
Jefferson
have her
Terrace, it's
call
open at
Glenn.
Jefferson.
Yeah, I would say call
Isn't it?
Glenn.
For the parking lots.
yeah, because it's not the city's project, but he's working with.
Oh, okay.
I had talked to him about the ditching and everything, because they made more ditching on Forest Home than we've had before, and
It's
changed
right on
things out
Forest Home,
on that end.
so.
Never had a ditch in my field before, and now I have a big one that you can't drive a tractor through.
Yeah, so I would meet with Glenn on
Okay.
that and
I'll call Glenn.
about the signage. Yeah, because according to this, he's saying that you can't drive on it.
Right.
Okay. Back to the donations received, do we have a tally on?
You have a sheet in your packet.
I don't have the packet with me, so.
I think Michelle has an extra packet.
Oh,
I think you grabbed them all.
I grabbed them all.
I did not put the one on there that you had to have the check redone, the year.
Okay.
Nate just informed me that he donated $250 and it's not on the list.
Right, because I sent the check, I gave the check back because it had the wrong year on it, it had 2019, sir.
Oh, well, that's
I
crazy.
brought it back.
I'm a couple years behind.
I dropped it off and I was,
I never got it back though.
yeah, it's at the bar, it's in the drawer.
When did you drop it off?
The day that you gave it back, that you gave it to me. Because I came up and dropped it off and I wasn't even in the car.
And I
you
called
were
her.
already gone. And so it's in the drawer behind the bar.
Oh, I think I left for out of town
Yep.
pretty much that afternoon.
We'll still take your money.
Yeah. We'll change the date.
Okay. So with the donations, is this something that we are going to have to do as fair commissioners going forward for sitting with, doing any advertising with the papers, the journal, and any of that? Or is
No,
that something
the
that you still-
advertising, we always put the ad in there.
Just
Yeah.
asking.
No, Actually, I talked to the lady today. Last year it was $150. This year it's $192 because they combined the South Now with several other municipalities. So instead of 15 municipalities, I think she said it's like 30 municipalities that will see it.
Okay.
And it's the same ad, the colored ad. She just has to send me a new proof with the
With the
correct
dates.
dates.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for that, and that will go in the paper then August 30th in the South Now.
Do you guys notify like the news stations too, or anything like that? Or, 'cause sometimes we've had the news out there.
Last year, or
sometimes
2 years
not.
ago, we had Brian Cramp.
Yeah,
26.
I thought someone else did that, I'm gonna say. I don't recall ever calling, but I know the last 2 years, Channel 6 or something was always there.
Because that's the one that was always that was always interviewed.
I can, I can reach out to Brian if he can come. I don't know if you want me to, I'd be happy to do that. I just talked to him at the fair, at the state fair, but.
I mean, I can fax them a copy of the thing, but to actually get someone to come out there to interview, I don't know who did that. It was the last 2 years they've come out, but I don't know whoever
I have no idea
contacted them.
They
whoever
interviewed
got
with
them.
Lions Club. We got Mike Schwabel on the Lions Club.
Yeah.
He knew the history.
Yeah.
Brian wanted to know the history of the fair
Right.
and stuff, and then found out that, well, I know he lives out here, or he's from
Yeah.
Franklin. And he knows that the fair was brought out for Phil's Corners to Franklin by Ollie Peterson, who was the first president of our Lions Club when we got our charter in 1957. So that's why Mike Schwabel is pretty up on all that, and he did all the interviewing on both years.
Yeah, he'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Again.
So,
And they should do like Channel 6 used to broadcast from the fair.
Right, the last 2 years.
yeah, he was.
Well, I mean,
right?
no, they used to have a tent.
Oh, that I don't
And they
know.
put the whole show on from the fair.
Yeah,
Oh, that I
it's-
don't
it's
know.
many,
Oh, wow.
yeah, many years ago.
Yeah, back when Clam was
Right.
the mayor, they used to have a big tent,
Mhm.
and they used to go up and down and do like the news things right
Oh,
from the
yeah,
fair.
that was,
Yeah.
Back
that
when I
must have
was
been a while
back
ago.
when I was a little kid. Yes,
I was
I do
gonna say
remember
that.
that.
Long time.
Because I was on there with the rabbits every
That's
once in a
been-
while. They would go with the rabbit wagon.
But Brian did go up and down the road when he was here the first year.
He had like 4 vendors that
Yeah, he had-
Sandy had scheduled everybody.
Right, he asked Mike and us, the Lions Club, we're, the vendors have been here a long
Yeah.
time beside us, and we pointed it out and everything, and he went up and he did interview it. Because my wife taped it at home when he
I
was there.
think he did 4 or 5 people that you
Yeah,
have to
yeah, he did,
preview it.
yeah.
yeah, 'cause
Beside
you
the
have to
Lions.
sign some kind
Sign
of a
up with the-
waiver. And
yeah.
Sandy, I know, worked with them on that. 'cause
Yeah,
remember
she worked with us.
her finding
If we had somebody that, would talk about it, and Mike
Yeah.
knew the history beside myself, but I'm not a talker.
But I think they contacted Sandy. Sandy didn't contact them.
No, Channel 6 contacted
Right.
Sandy, and then Sandy contacted me,
Correct.
the Lions Club,
Yep.
and then I got Mike to do it, yeah,
Yeah,
the last 2 years.
yeah.
That's the way it worked.
So, I mean, I can send something to the newspapers if you need me to. I mean,
Well, I know
send a-
Spectrum used to have, they did away with that though, they'd have what was going on the weekends, and they kind of advertised.
That used to be through the high school. They used to have a thing in B channel on the Spectrum, where you
I
could
don't
go
have
through and
Spectrum.
it would show things that were going on around your neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of connected with the Franklin High School, and it would show different things from the Franklin. I don't have Spectrum anymore either, but that's what it used to be on.
I don't really have Facebook either, but I thought someone put it on Facebook.
There's a
last
bunch of them that are on Facebook right now that are putting on, I don't know who's put it on there, but I've seen it. We're going to the St. Martin's Labor Day Fair this weekend,
Oh,
Labor Day
okay.
weekend. So that's the blue from the one that was being on that 4 months, or that quarterly report that you have. It was one of those pictures from the St. Martin's Fair.
Using our city logo.
Yeah, the city
which
logo with.
And advertising them.
Technically,
Yeah,
they're not
they
supposed.
can't, not supposed to use
They're not
the city
supposed to be using
logo,
our
yeah.
city logo.
I just saw it, that's all. I didn't
Yeah,
put it
I was
on.
invited to it. I don't know who.
I have no idea.
I accepted it, but
I saw it on there, so something on that.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone
It
on the
was-
committee is on Facebook, if they wanna put it on there.
The Lions will be putting it on, so
Oh,
then I
okay.
know there'll be
Oh,
they're
okay.
gonna be pushing it, we'll be pushing it.
And
on
it's
Facebook.
already on the City of Franklin web page or whatever with the new permits. They have something on there with the dates, so I
Right,
saw that.
Right.
I'm no longer on the community page. Otherwise, I have them do it. But
Oh, yeah, I don't really do Facebook.
I'll have it. I'll put it on my older page, of course.
I
And I'll
don't think
encourage the
anyone should
other
have
elders
Facebook.
too. That's a smart move. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have one, I only did it when my son was in service to communicate with him.
Oh.
Other than that.
I always tell my dad he's a smart man for not having Facebook.
Anything else on anything, on the operations, the donations, or the road?
So what are we doing with the road then? Who's taking?
I'm gonna talk to
Rosie's
Glenn.
gonna talk to Glenn, because
About
there's a
what-
difference of opinion with who she's
Okay.
talking to and what Glenn is telling us.
So I will call Glenn
Sorry.
and talk to him about what, if we can have a signage or anything on that, and then if we can, I'll see if we can take some money out of the, to go for that. I do have one other question, but I think it's more for Kevin about putting the barricades back up on the bike paths. I mean, if we're not gonna have anybody down Forest Home, that shouldn't be part
Right,
of the
didn't
issue.
they put cement barriers there
They
last year?
did, they put cement barriers there last year.
So I am assuming they're gonna do
Okay,
the same.
because they already have it,
Yeah, they are.
they
are.
already have the arms closed over by my office, because Yahoos keep trying to go through to Pacific Avenue for something that they're buying online. I had 3 today already. What do you mean I can't go through?
Yeah, because you would know more.
Yeah, those
Right,
are gonna,
those
it'll
are-
be the
yeah.
same as last year.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Good on that. I guess the next meeting date, anybody?
Do we need another one?
We usually have one after the fair.
Oh, after the fair, okay, I thought it was beforehand.
Usually October.
You guys.
Do we want to leave it open and just figure it out after? Do you just call one up together, or do you want to set something up?
Could we? I mean, you know, to make sure that between myself and Alderman Craig, you know, different boards and commissions and stuff that we're on. You know, I don't know.
We've done that in the past, if we needed some, we, put something together.
Could be,
Do Mondays work best for most people?
depends on.
Today's Wednesday.
Oh, today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday, yeah.
I'm like, let's come back from the early, so.
It has been one of those
Really
weeks.
long week.
Did you notice everybody's really quiet? I guess that's the question. What day is the
I
best
need
day
to
of
go
the
back
week
on vacation.
for everybody?
Pretty much any day.
All the same.
I'm library board last Mondays of the month, and I'm not sure Alderman Craig what he's on.
Wednesdays.
Okay.
The last time I think you guys met was on a Wednesday too.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday's always kind of been the day.
Yep.
Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Well, good. That's the best day for me too. So that's good.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have 4 to 5 porta potties moved from either by you or by Rosie, moved down to, and you will have room for them?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, because it just, if they don't pump them out midday, I just need more.
yeah, they won't go, this new company will not come through. We had all we could do originally, they weren't gonna come at all, that's why they gave us more,
Yeah,
so, but
well,
I'll
we'll
see.
be able to make that work.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell Kevin then. Yeah, and they're supposed to call Kevin before they drop them off. I mean, he doesn't have any control if they just start
Correct.
dropping them off and don't call him.
Right.
So,
And that's 4 or 5 by the hardware store, not the Lions Club. They're
correct.
gonna take them from,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Or by Rosie.
Right, I mean, technically, yeah, they should have more, because they're gonna have more parking over at the Country Dale School, because if everything's gonna come through North Cave, you're gonna have more people stopping
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
way
it's
over by
Tell them they're
you.
gonna have to walk a few more feet.
Correct.
If they wanna go potty.
If I could get 6 more, that would be perfect.
6 more. And you will have room for those?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Keep asking
Well, I want to make sure, because I know there wasn't very many put down there, because there was never enough room. That's why. Okay. Okay.
All right, are we going to, somebody leave it as an open date next for meeting date, or are we going to
We can set a date.
set a date?
You said
October.
October? Second Wednesday, is that right?
We could do,
Third Wednesday? Third Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm missing the Lioness meeting tonight.
I'll
So do you
vote
want to do
for you.
Okay, thank you.
the
Let
second
Terry know.
Wednesday instead
October-
of third?
Yeah, that would be, if that works for others.
I can't find the calendar.
That will be October 11th.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody want to make a motion?
All right, I'll make, what date is? I'll make-
October 11th.
October 11th. I'll make the motion then.
I'll
Next
second.
meeting will be October 11th.
Monday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
October.
October
September.
11th.
I'm telling you, it has been what
5:30 works good for
long meeting
everybody?
last last night.
Yes.
All in favor of October 11th, 5:30 for the next meeting date, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Ayes have it. Anything else that anybody can think of? No? Does somebody want to make a motion for the meeting to be open?
Thank everybody for all their hard work putting this together. I can't imagine.
Did you have anything to the police department? Okay. I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Meeting over.